The human race requires judgment.
You're going to judge us? You get all your ideas from comic book villains?
You are amazing.
With great power comes great responsibility. These righteous ideals remain prevalent as a central focus for my favorite Marvel hero to date. Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, first appeared in Amazing Fantasy issue 15 back in 1962. You can easily see there is no doubt that he is arguably the most popular identifiable face within the Marvel brand. He was created by two great visionaries, Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. When you think about Stan Lee's personal affinity for the character, then I don't think it's out of the norm to say that Spider-Man was his most beloved creation.
I've been asked what aspects of my character do I see in Spider-Man, and I would say his courage, his nobility, his sense of always doing the right thing. I would say the greatness in that man in some way reminds me of me.
He always had this euphoria for Spidey during countless interviews whenever he's asked any question about the friendly neighborhood webhead. There's always been many interpretations involving this character, which spans from the Amazing series, Ultimate Spider-Man, the insanely popular video games, the Raimi movies, the cartoons, plus the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What makes the essence of Spider-Man without a childish desire to bash every single rendition that isn't comic accurate in full? First, we have to analyze that particular quote that talks about with great power comes great responsibility. These parting words reflected deep principle on the character since Peter's parents died during their mission as S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. Whether you think about Aunt May or Uncle Ben, it is apparent that these two were the only thing considered to be parental figures in Peter's life. Peter was irresponsible after his exposure to the radioactive spider bite, often getting into fights or being condescending to others, which was the exact opposite of Peter Parker when he was initially powerless against the bullies. I guess he started to become one here. Uncle Ben was the first to realize that drastic change in personality as he tried to offer his advice before the fatal shooting. There was a bitter pill that Peter Parker had to swallow due to his irresponsibility to do the right thing by stopping an armed robber. This in turn led to Uncle Ben taking an immediate trip to the morgue. Peter then proceeds to say that there will be betterment in his life by living up to Uncle Ben's philosophy in passing. It's clear that Parker has the same issues as your average human being, with a lack of fully grasping great responsibility completely. Power breeds absolute strength that can be utilized to help people. It can also make a person fallible. This power tends to corrupt, which leads to that particular pathway that ensures reckless nature. This is the core makeup for Peter Parker, since no human is absolutely perfect no matter what powers they have. Thus, this means that to stay good, to remember the importance that mentions great power comes great responsibility, it means that this could be skewed sometimes. This is still a vast learning experience that Peter Parker must understand to help others. He needs to be Spider-Man, but he also needs to overcome selfishness that swarms around his own temptations. For example, hitting on Mary Jane was a clear temptation, we're not gonna lie about that, but now she's in danger for being in his life. If Spider-Man villains find out who he is, then they're going to go after Peter Parker's loved ones. That means that his secret identity comes into conflict with his personal life, which can't be hidden away forever. There's also the clear example of the symbiote suit, which served as another clear temptation to Peter. He obtained an ego with the control of the symbiote, feeding on his negative emotions. Thus, it made life a living hell for the people around him, like Eddie Brock. This neglect for responsibility tends to have this cause and effect pattern to alter the lives unknowingly of people in the Spider-Man universe. It's all cause and effect. Peter decides to let the robber go, Uncle Ben dies. Peter decides to let the negative emotions of the symbiote control him, and he likes it, he enjoys it. This is his euphoria. And then Eddie Brock becomes a very very hollow person. He becomes numb to everything. He becomes angry, mad, upset, and then the symbiote latches off Peter and then finds his way to Eddie Brock, and then boom, a new villain is created. It's all cause and effect. The notion of simply giving up hasn't done anything justifiable either, and it only serves as a warning sign so Peter can get right back on track. I think perfect film examples include the ideas of Peter trying to save someone after trying to quit being Spider-Man. He doesn't want to be Spider-Man anymore in Spider-Man 2, and then he tries to save someone from a burning building, only to find out that someone in the rubble did not make it. Someone he did not know about that was in the building did not make it, and they died. That was the cause and effect of the situation. Someone died because he wanted to give up and he didn't know about it, and he didn't put in more effort, and then this happened. Someone lost their life.
You got some guts, kid.
Some poor soul got trapped on the 4th floor. Never made it out.
All right, Billy, let's knock it down and roll him up. Get on out of here.
Let's pick it up. Get all this equipment. Let's go. Let's move it.
And then there was also the negative outcome that happened when Peter wanted to drop the mantle of being Spider-Man, and he didn't want it anymore in Far From Home. He wanted to return to a normal teenager life, giving Quentin Beck access to the Eve glasses. And then this caused a downward spiral because then Beck used Peter. He wanted to gain his trust. Because of this mistrust, a lot of devious things happen, a lot of destruction, and the reality is Peter cannot separate the duality of being a normal superhero from his normal life anymore. Every time he tries not to be Spider-Man, things always wind up worse as he tries to concede defeat from his heroics. This is why these pivotal moments when the man comes to terms with who he is has always been peak Spider-Man. Even when Peter looked at his suit, he questions his behavior and doubts himself. He always sees the error of his ways as a small moment that clears his mind. After that, we're faced with another difficult piece of the puzzle, and that's choice. Peter chooses to be Spider-Man, yet does he always want it? No. Will the reach of great power allow everyone to be saved? It sure did not work in certain situations, especially for Gwen Stacy's broken neck. These consequences from choice will always be the essence, the key component to Spider-Man that keeps his selfishness in order. What's more important, a ferry full of tourists going into a ravine versus Mary Jane Watson, his burning flame? The option is taken to save both as Spidey leaps into action. You ever notice how people believe that Spider-Man is all about joking quips? I mean, we know that Spider-Man is essentially a practical joker in battle against his foes. However, when something precious is on the line, you should pay a little bit more attention. Pay attention a little further. You start to realize that the jokes stop. They come to a dead halt. Spider-Man is making quips no more. It's no more funny business when something personal, someone Peter Parker cares about, is at jeopardy here, and that's when shit gets real for Spider-Man. That's when there's no more games.
I won't let you win. This means too much to me. Not more than it means to me.
Now, what if the choices become harder from here? Peter Parker chose to lie to Aunt May about the death of Ben Parker because he was there. He wanted to protect her from the ugly truth that he was present. Things get even harder when you play that spectacular title known as Spider-Man PS4. Peter faces a moral dilemma where Aunt May is poisoned with an illness known as Devil's Breath. At the end of the game, he is forced to make a choice because the general population is also infected by this virus. Peter obtains an anti-serum near the end of the game's climax, and he has to face two difficult choices. Option 1, let Aunt May live to save her from the infection while the general population dies out, including some of Peter's friends. Option 2, let Aunt May perish to save many while losing the closest mother figure to him in the process. I feel like that phrase that was muttered by Thanos in Avengers Infinity War reigns true.
The hardest choices require the strongest wills.
I don't know what to do.
Yes, you do.
When Spider-Man pulls back on the anti-serum from Aunt May's IV tube and he starts to cry over that decision that he has made, I feel like this is what happens when the essence of Spider-Man shines brightly. When Peter Parker is faced with a difficult moral choice, we see that Peter finally grabs the root to remain selfless. He starts to know how responsibility feels like. It isn't always pretty, it feels rather shitty, it feels rather ugly, but sometimes that's the price you pay by swearing to do the right thing. Loss makes Peter Parker grow as a man, and that will always be the essence that shapes Spider-Man. That is the essence which defines who he is.
Whatever life holds in store for me, I will never forget these words. With great power comes great responsibility. This is my gift, my curse. Who am I? I'm Spider-Man.
This is Renegade Operative signing off. What did you guys think of this new Comic Zone discussion about the essence of Spider-Man? Comment below, let me know, leave a like on the video if you indeed enjoyed it, share it to your friends, put it on your social media. That would really help me a lot. Subscribe if you are new, and once again, tell me what you think in the comments below about what makes the essence, the core character of Spider-Man. What does Spider-Man mean to you? How should he be displayed? And what makes him unique? Sound off in the comments below, let me know. And once again, take care, people. I really enjoyed making this, man. I really enjoyed making this because I didn't do a serious opinion piece on a comic book character in a while. I did discussions here or there using my knowledge, but I never did a video essay or something like this to this effect, and I figured Comic Zone discussion was the best place to do this. I might do one on the Punisher in the future, so look forward to that. Once again, I'm signing out. Be good people, take care of yourselves, and I will see you for the next video sometime in the future. Later.